So we were blessed this winter with Severance and Invincible. Those were both great shows, and in the past 2-3 weeks, they've both had their season finales. They both had incredible season finales, and we want more from these shows.
I guess what we really kind of want to talk about is like, or at least me mainly, is what kind of like makes a good season finale and sort of how season finales can sort of become formulaic to a degree. And what I mean by that is, for instance, I recently finished my first viewing of The Sopranos. And once you get to maybe like halfway through the show, you start to realize this like formulaic response to the season finales. And a lot of shows fall into this trope, such as like The Boys. The final episode of the final, or like the season, the season finale will always have a main character death. And, you could be like, oh, every other episode, this character is safe. But then something's going to go down in the season finale. And it kind of becomes a little predictable, in my opinion. Not to say that, like, it doesn't make sense or the writing is bad. It just becomes a bit formulaic. And Sopranos, by all means, probably started this trend due to the fact that they introduced like a new, like they introduced so many new antagonists and then killed off those antagonists, and they had to constantly introduce antagonists, and it felt like they were like, running out of characters, if we're honest. And at a certain point, they kind of just like have to, just kill the characters off because they don't have any more place in the show. And you kind of realize that they keep doing this on the same, like, time crunch at the end of the season.
Yeah, this formulaic finales is not just a Sopranos thing, by the way. It's also like a bunch of the CW superhero shows that I watched always have like the exact same finale with like the bad guy either getting killed or being locked away, and then something bad might happen to the main characters. So yeah.
I think what's expected is, for season finales, it's expected to be the most climactic episode of the season we're watching. And it makes sense because, every episode is leading up to a conclusion. And that's like a semi-conclusion. It's a sort of climactic, partial ending to this story. And then, for instance, Severance, Severance has a pretty interesting take on it. They like pose a bunch of questions, and then in season 1, they answer like a few questions, but also like raise more, like what's going to happen. And then they leave you on this giant cliffhanger that wants you, wanting more. And for me, it's like, it's so hard to like just wait years and years, but that's kind of what you have to do. And that's like kind of the main draw, for season finales. There's so much time between seasons that you have to have like a sort of cliffhanger or overarching question or like something to be raised in order to keep watching. And I think Invincible does this in a way that like at the end, they just have like a montage of what their characters are up to. And for me, if I'm honest, season 2 was super climactic, but it felt like they didn't pose enough of the Viltrumite War. That's like the big overarching thing. Like we see Nolan and Alan like break out of prison, and then we just never get to see them again. We don't even see them in the season finale. And that was sort of anticlimactic for me, in my opinion. It didn't really tie together the story. It sort of just felt like this Viltrumite just beat this guy up. They had a super like cool fight, but like, how does this tie into the story? It didn't really give us like too much, and story-wise, at least, it just didn't want me like. It didn't leave me like wanting more, or like I'm not super thrilled for what's to come. I guess that's partially because I've read all the comics and I know that this is like the most climactic thing that's going to happen for a while, in my opinion, at least. There's obviously like, the Invincible universe, constantly shit is happening. And then they do show like a new storyline that they
Damien Darkblood.
Yeah. And then people are like, oh, Spawn's happening. But that's the biggest like thing that's drawing people. And that's like the only question they really have left. And it's kind of like, Well, that's kind of lame.
Are you sure?
Okay. I did want to pose this. I've recently been binging a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David. I was never really a big fan of Seinfeld, but I saw a few clips of his show and I thought they were pretty entertaining. At a certain point, I think I'm binging it too much. So I'm like, I'm not in love with the show anymore. But at the beginning, I was super in love with it. And I was just constantly watching it and watching it and watching it. It's super easy to watch because it's like 30 increment episodes and then it's like back to back to back, just entertaining. And they're sort of episodic, as in like you can watch them. They have a story that's sort of contained, but it's also like there's an overarching thing. And that's the problem I see with. I also recently binge watched AP Bio. In the first season I thought was really good. I thought, we have this overarching story idea where he has a rival. He's trying to get back at his rival. And then as the next seasons happen, there's no overarching story. Each episode is kind of just like picking up the pieces of what's left, just going to next story beat to next story beat, just doing whatever's funny. But the problem is like, things that should be happening that are funny should be happening around a cohesive story. And I think that's what Curb Your Enthusiasm does a lot better than AP Bio. Each season has like something specific. They have the Seinfeld reunion season. Then there's the rival store season, and then there's the play season. Each season has a specific story beat that it plays around, and I think that's super interesting.
We would like to say thank you for those who have shown us support and sent comments and liked and subscribed to us recently. They are really helping us, at least continue to be motivated. So please
keep commenting. All of the comments. I like to reply to them. Faik likes to look at them as well.
Yeah,
I think they really help grow our channel, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, so please don't forget to like if you like the video, and if you want to see more from us, subscribe.
Hit the bell. Hit the bell.
And once again, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Do you feel it? Do you feel the rays going through your body?